So what is up people, welcome to the new video of this TypeScript series, and it is the first video. In this video we will see what is TypeScript, why we need to use TypeScript, and what are the advantages of TypeScript, how you can run a TypeScript file by compiling it to a JavaScript file. So what is exactly TypeScript? TypeScript is just a superset of JavaScript. It's a JavaScript superset, right? So why it is a superset? What does it adds to JavaScript? So it adds some features and advantages and types to JavaScript. So if you focus here on one thing, it is types. It adds some types to JavaScript, but we know already that JavaScript already has some types, right? So JavaScript, we can use numbers and strings and arrays, objects. So JavaScript already has some types, but why we need to use TypeScript? So see, JavaScript is a weakly typed language, right? Weakly or loosely typed language. What does it mean? Loosely typed language. What does it mean? It means if you initialize or if you declare a variable, let's say let name is equal to my name and anything, any string, so it is my name variable, right? But you can change it, you can change the value. If you assign now 20 number to it, so it will also be valid in JavaScript. You cannot restrict a variable of only a particular type, right? So you cannot say the name will only have this string type, right? So you can also assign it any number, any boolean, or any array, or any object, anything you can assign to a variable in JavaScript, right? So it does not matter like if it restricts a specific type for a variable, right? So but it can cause some bugs in JavaScript, right? Because assume if you are working on some schema, you want to add some data into your database, and let's say there's a field called age, so age should be in number, right? But if someone added in this age like a string, I am 22 years old, so that can cause a bug inside your application, right? So you have to restrict this age variable that it should only hold the number type, not any other string or not any other type. It should only hold a specific type. It's a number here, right? So how you can do that? You need to use TypeScript for that. So in TypeScript, if you are using TypeScript, in that you can restrict a variable for a specific type. So how you can assign it types to a variables? So in TypeScript, you can say like let name, and you can add these columns here, and you can specify your type here, let's say string. So if you have declared your variable like this syntax, now you can assign this name to only a string, right? So only a string. If you assign a number to it, it will be invalid, right? So it will be invalid. If you are assigning a boolean to it like true, so it will also be invalid. So TypeScript you can use for adding types to your JavaScript. Also TypeScript adds some features, some extra features like next generation JavaScript. If you see next generation JavaScript, I mean like ES6 syntax, right? That you use in React.js, right? So in React we use Babel mostly for compiling ES6 to ES5, so browser compatible JavaScript. But if you are using TypeScript, so TypeScript compiler always compiles the next generation JavaScript to old generation JavaScript, like so browser compatible JavaScript. So it can be compatible in browsers, in Node, or whatever your runtime you are using, right? Browsers and Node. So that's the quick intro to TypeScript. Now let's see how you can install TypeScript. For installing, you can just install TypeScript. You don't need to install any compiler, any other thing. You just install TypeScript like a JavaScript package using a Node.js package. So the condition is you should have Node.js and npm installed in your system already, and then you just need to run this command. You have to install this TypeScript as a package of globally. You can add like npm install -g for globally installation, and now you can specify your TypeScript, right? So it's just like a package, but it comes with the TypeScript compiler, right? It's a TypeScript compiler. After installing TypeScript, you can start writing your TypeScript code. You can create files using .ts extension. Instead of .js, you have to add this .ts extension. Now let's say if you are writing an app.ts file, so you have added some code to it. Now you cannot run directly a TypeScript file. Rather on browsers or on Node, on anything, TypeScript will not run. So you have to compile it to JavaScript file. So if you add this command tsc app.ts, so it will be compiled to a JavaScript file. It will be compiled to app.js. Then you can run it node app.js, or you can run it on browsers also, right? You can add this into your HTML page, HTML file as a script, and then where you can execute your JavaScript in the browser itself. So that's the quick intro to TypeScript. Now let's write some code in TypeScript and let's see how we can compile a TypeScript file to a JavaScript file. So now let's start writing some code in TypeScript. First of all, I am creating a JavaScript file so I can show you. JavaScript is a loosely typed language. So let's say I am creating a variable here, right? I'm creating like let first name is equal to the sharp. Okay, now if I change its value, I can also store 12 to it, right? So if I console.log here, type of first name. Now if I console.log here, type of first name, and if you run this file here, you will see first it was a string, and after I have assigned a number to it, it became the type of number, right? So before it was a string and after it became number. So JavaScript is a loosely typed language. We cannot say it is a weak, but it is really strong because it in the backend it does all the calculations, like okay, it identifies the types of the values so that it can assign types to its variable names, right? But we have to strict our variables for a specific type. How we can do that? We just need to use TypeScript for that. So let's create a TypeScript file. Let's say basics.ts, and in this let's declare our first variable. Let's say let first name. So it should be string. This is the way how we can assign a type to a variable, and it is showing a red mark here because always TypeScript it identifies if you have not used any variable, then it will not run, like it will give you some error or warning. So every variable should be used, right? So now you can assign first name is equal to, I can assign to sharp. So that's okay for TypeScript, right? So if you console.log here, if you go for first name, so how you can compile this? First you need to compile your TS file. You cannot directly run your TypeScript file, right? So how you can compile? You need to use this tsc compiler command, right? So you need to add this tsc and then your file name basics.ts, and now it has compiled. So now if you see here, new file is created called basics.js, right? And if you go to inside of this file, it says the same thing. And one thing to notice here is I have declared my variable using let here, but it became var here because TypeScript always compiles the next generation JavaScript to all browser compatible JavaScript. So in some browsers maybe let may not be identified, or maybe some browser is using the old JavaScript version, then it always compiles to this kind of JavaScript version, right? So now if I run this basics.js file, you can see the console.log, our value is here, right? So now if I want to assign a number to this variable, then it will be giving me some error. You can see here type number is not assignable to type string. It is always saying. And if also I compile this, it will give me error, like it is saying type number is not assignable to type string, right? So this is the way you can restrict your types in some variables in using TypeScript, right? So as same, let's start writing a function. Let's write some function. Let's say function add, and how you can assign some types inside functions. Let's say n1 and n2. If you are using normal JavaScript, so basically you use it like this, right? So let's say if I console.log add 12 or 13, that's okay. First compile it to JavaScript, then run the JavaScript file. It is saying 25. But what if I do it like this? Let's say school. Let's compile it. So it became like this. It combined this number and a string, right? But we only want here numbers. How you can restrict that? You can assign your types here inside in parameters of the function, inside the function definition, right? So let's say this should be a number and this also should be a number, right? So now it will give you an error that you cannot assign a string to the number type, right? So it is saying argument of type string is not assignable to parameter of type number. So now you have to add a number only here. So we can add number here. Now it will be compiled. It will not give any error and it is calculating our sum here, right? So this is the way you can use your TypeScript to restrict some types, and you can get rid of a lot of bugs using TypeScript, right? So now let's see, it has compiled our TypeScript file to basics.js file. So here you can see it added some JavaScript code from itself. It has compiled my TypeScript file. So this is the quick introduction how you can run your TypeScript files, how you can compile your TypeScript files to JavaScript files, and how you can compile them and how you can run them, right? So in the next module we will see what are the code types you can assign to your variables and function parameters, or what are function types, and how you can assign some objects types to some objects or some arrays types. So we will see all the code types that are added in TypeScript or that are inbuilt in JavaScript. So we will see all the types in the next module. So for now, this is the quick intro to TypeScript. So if you like this video, please hit the like button and do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.